This video features big-name 1970s running backs who were traded in the decade. The first one was the intended receiver in the Immaculate Reception play, John Frenchie Fuqua. Frenchie had fast feet. Just wait until you see what he wore on those feet when he was off the field of play. In Week 14 of the 1970 season, his first in Pittsburgh, he touched the ball 23 times from scrimmage and averaged 11.1 yards per touch, 256 total yards. Fuqua was a fine receiver as a running back. His 49 catches were the 6th best in the NFL for the 1971 season. The Giants drafted Frenchie in 1969's 11th round out of Morgan State. He only rushed 20 times in 1969 and was traded to the Steelers with linebacker Henry Davis for quarterback Dick Shiner in 1970. Frenchie was a stylish dresser. He wore platform shoes with gold fish containers in the heels. Another Steelers running back who was acquired via trade in 1970 was Preston Pearson. Defensive back O.C. Austin joined him from Baltimore, with linebacker Ray May and a draft choice being Pittsburgh's contribution. Pearson only touched the ball 49 times from scrimmage in 3 years with the Colts, but in 1970 he touched it 179 times, more than any other season in his 14-year NFL career. Browns traded 1969 first-round draft pick Ron Johnson just 1 year later in a swap with the Giants involving wide receiver Homer Jones. While he scored 7 touchdowns for the Browns in 1969, far bigger things awaited him in his 1970 season with his new team. He led the NFL with 1,514 scrimmage yards and made first-team All-Pro, while he became the first Giants runner to gain over 1,000 rushing yards in a single season, a feat that he duplicated in 1972 when he made the NFC Pro Bowl team for the second time. If you're looking for 1970s running back trades that aren't featured in this video, they're most likely in my video entitled Forgotten 1970s NFL Running Back Trades. It's located in the Special Features section of my playlist. The Packers drafted Dave Hampton in the 1969 ninth round out of Wyoming. He scored 10 touchdowns in 3 seasons with the Pack and was traded to Atlanta for guard Malcolm Snyder in 1972. He nearly missed rushing for 1,000 yards in 1972 and 1973 by a total of only 5 and 3 yards respectively. He finally turned the trick in 1975 when he rushed for 1,002 yards. biggest one-for-one trade was the Colts superstar Lydell Mitchell for promising Joe Washington of the Chargers, who missed his entire rookie season due to injury. Mitchell was age 29 in 1978 when he was shipped to San Diego. He had led the NFL in touches in both 1976 and 1977 when he made second-team All-Pro. Mitchell played 2 years with the Chargers, and although he didn't add to his 3 1,000 rushing yard seasons, he still flashed his brilliance as a dazzling runner and receiver. In 1977, as a Charger, Joe Washington showcased his receiving talent that would lead the NFL with 82 receptions in 1979. The Dolphins' Mercury Morris had exceptional speed. In his first 5 seasons, he posted average yards per carry of 4.8, 6.8, 5.5, 5.3, and 6.4. Even though he led the Dolphins in rushing in 1975, he was traded on August 24, 1976 to San Diego. He ran 50 times for the Chargers in 1976, then called it quits. The 49ers' Delvin Williams was a similar running back to that of Mercury Morris. In 1978, Miami traded free safety Vern Roberson, wide receiver Freddie Solomon, and their 1978 number 1 and number 5 draft picks for Williams. Delvin had a huge 1978 season as he made first-team All-Pro with 1,258 rushing yards, fourth best in the NFL. Ohio State's Tom Matte was a 1961 first-round draft pick of the Colts. Nicknamed Garbage Can, he played 12 years for Baltimore. When quarterbacks John Unitas and Gary Cuozzo were unable to play in 1965 due to injuries, Matte stepped in to play with a wrist guard that contained play calls. In the 1965 playoff bowl at Green Bay, Matte completed 5 of 12 passes for 40 yards in a 13-10 overtime loss. After spending most of the 1972 season on the practice squad, Matte was traded to the Chargers for an 8th-round draft pick. Matte pondered the move and decided to retire instead of play for San Diego. Ken Willard had played 9 seasons with the 49ers, made 4 NFL All-Star games, and is 4th on the 49ers all-time career rushing list. In May 1974, he was traded to the Cardinals for a future draft choice. Before Jim Otis led the NFC in rushing yardage for the Cardinals in 1976 with 1,076 yards, he was a 9th-round draft choice of the Saints in 1970. After racking up a very modest 335 scrimmage yards in 1970, the Saints traded him to the Chiefs for their 1971 7th-round draft pick. The Cardinals obtained him 2 years later off waivers, and he rewarded them with over 4,100 scrimmage yards in 6 seasons. In 1970, the Colts drafted 6 foot 1 inch, 220-pound Norm Bulaich, number 1, and he started 12 games in their Super Bowl winning team. He made the Pro Bowl team in 1971, but when the Colts drafted Lydell Mitchell in 1972, Bulaich became expendable and was traded to Philadelphia for a 1973 4th-round draft pick and a 1974 2nd-round draft pick. In 1975, Bulaich was traded again, this time to the Dolphins for their 1976 4th-round draft pick. He was a fine addition, as he played 5 years for the Dolphins and scored 23 touchdowns. Big Boo wasn't just big, he was fast too. Will Granger led the AFL with 1,494 scrimmage yards in 1967 when he made second-team All-Pro. His 1,194 rushing yards in 1967 is the third highest single-season total in AFL history. In 1971, he was traded to the Saints, for whom he played that season, but was cut by them in 1972 and returned to play one final season with the Oilers in 1972. Tony Baker signed with the Saints as a free agent in 1968. His 4.8 yards per carry in 1969 led the NFL, and he finished with the 11th most rushing yards. The Saints traded him to the Eagles in 1971 for a fourth-round draft pick. In 18 games played, he failed to score a touchdown and averaged only 3.5 yards per carry. He was packaged in the Roman Gabriel trade with the Rams in 1973, scored 12 touchdowns in 2 years with them, and then was traded again. The Chargers sent a fifth-round draft choice in 1975. In 1975, the Redskins drafted Mike Thomas with their first pick, which happened to be in the 6th round because head coach / general manager George Allen traded away all of their higher picks. He was the NFL's Offensive Rookie of the Year. He made the NFC's Pro Bowl team the following year when he rushed for 1,101 yards. In 1979, he was traded to the Chargers for future considerations. Ricky Young was a Chargers running back from 1975 through 1977, and on July 28, 1978, he was traded to the Vikings for the rights to Ed White. Young led the NFL with 88 receptions his first year in Minnesota. His 88 catches broke the record for most single-season receptions by a running back. In 1979, his 72 catches was the fourth most in the NFL. Ten-year veteran Tommy Mason was on his last legs with the Rams, but it didn't stop George Allen from trading an undisclosed draft pick for him in 1971. Mason's best years were with the Vikings, where he was the team's first ever draft pick in 1961 and made the NFL All-Star game from 1962 through 1964. In 1963, he made first-team All-Pro, and in 1964, he was part of the entire Vikings offensive backfield that made the NFL's All-Star team, along with Fran Tarkenton and Bill Brown.